Last day before the All-Star break, Roger Clemens against Tampa, going for career strikeout number 3,000. Quentin McCracken, number 1. Wade Boggs, number 2. Mike DeFelice, number 3. Miguel Cairo, out. So he's got 4 strikeouts at this point. Clemens going for number 3,000. Randy Wynn, ring him up, sit him down. Clemens becomes the 11th pitcher to record 3,000 or more career strikeouts, placing him behind Bob Gibson on the all-time list. Tony Saunders, meanwhile, against Alex Gonzalez. Saunders gave up only 1 run on 6 hits in 7 innings. Now in the 8th, Dave, tied at 1.
Yeah, bottom of the 8th. Tony Fernandez just yesterday set the all-time Jays club record for base hits in a career. Base hit to right, his 3rd hit of the game. Shannon Stewart coming around to score, and the Jays will take a 2-1 lead.
Top 9, that's the score for Randy Myers. DeFelice, the batter, gets jammed. Gonzalez makes the unassisted double play. 23rd save on the year for Myers, passing Raleigh Fingers and moving into 5th on the all-time saves list with 342 as Toronto wins it 2-1. A no decision for Clemens, who gave up 1 run and 5 hits in 7 1/3. His first career strikeout, Mike Hargrove, all the way back in 1984. Clemens now has 3,002 career strikeouts after striking out 7.
It's exciting when you look at the guys that I have a chance to pass, and it's pretty neat. I mean, I never expected it, and just feel very blessed and fortunate that it's worked out this long, and I could be a power pitcher.
So Clemens, the 11th pitcher to get 3,000 strikeouts. Clemens, the only active pitcher among the 11, and Clemens is one of just 7 active pitchers who have over 2,000 strikeouts. Clemens does get to 3,000 strikeouts in his 434th career start. Only Nolan Ryan got there faster. Hi, everybody. Great to have you with us on Baseball Tonight. Bill Pidto along with Dave Campbell. So Clemens goes over the 3,000 mark, and not one of his career strikeouts came against Dave Campbell.
No, but of the 11 guys that have done it, Bill, 8 of them was in their book. But Roger Clemens, I mean, a lot of people say, is he as good as he was a year ago? He may have had that much of a drop-off. His numbers aren't quite as good. But still a tremendous competitor. You saw the arsenal today, the fastball, the split-finger pitch. Still a brilliant competitor. He's still got some baseball left in him. He has not turned into a finesser. He is still a legitimate power pitcher.
Clemens, a no decision, stays at 9-6 for the year, 4-0 in his last 7 starts. The Blue Jays began the day 18.5 games behind the Yanks, but everybody is way behind the Yanks, who have joined the 1902 Pittsburgh Pirates, the 1907 Chicago Cubs, and the 1912 New York Giants as the only teams in modern history to start a season 60-20. Even the often understated Joe Torre says it's an incredible number, remarkable at this point. The Yanks at home to play Baltimore. And let's take a look at this one. Bottom of the 1st, Scott Erickson on the hill. Throws behind Derek Jeter. Would we have another chapter between these two? No, because cooler heads would prevail. Erickson explaining things, no problem after that. Bases loaded later in the inning. Erickson against Chad Curtis. Down he goes. Erickson struck out 7 in 8 innings of work. Bottom of the 3rd now, Dave.
Well, everything going right for the Yankees, nothing quite going right for the Orioles. Erickson can't handle a fairly routine comeback or infield hit for Luis Sojo. And then Paul O'Neill, who found left field when he went to the American League. He was a dead pull hitter in the National League. He singles, good base running by Sojo. He goes around to 3rd. Then O'Neill, a guy that never used to run. Yankees have stolen close to 100 bases this year. He gets the steal. Tim Raines takes a walk to load the bases. And if it hasn't been going bad enough for the Orioles, look at this run. Chad Curtis gets drilled on the hand, and in comes Sojo. Yankees take a 1-0 lead.
That's the score, top of the 4th. Rafael Palmeiro, Ricky Leday going back. What do we have? Well, ball comes out. Eric Davis going to 3rd, and Eric Davis is out at 3rd. Watch it again. Leday didn't make the catch, but, if he didn't get up there, it probably would have gone over the wall for a home run. Top of the 5th, 2 outs, runners on 2nd and 3rd. Cone strikes out Roberto Alomar, one of his 4 strikeouts in the game. And then in the top of the 9th, Orioles down 1-0. Mariano Rivera on the mound. B.J. Surhoff foul tips the 0-2 pitch, but Joe Girardi, look what I found. And the Yanks go on to win by the final score of 1-0. Cone joining Aaron Seeley as a 12-game winner in the American League. Cone gave up 7 hits in 8 innings, didn't walk a batter for the 3rd straight start. Cone is 5-1 now with a 2.13 ERA in his last 6 starts, while the O's have now lost 11 of 12. The Yanks have won 10 of 11. They're now 61-20, matching the best record ever after 81 games. Both the 1902 Pirates and 1907 Cubs were 61-20, but the Yanks have the best winning percentage ever at the All-Star break, which began in 1933. Of note, only the 1944 Cards and 1939 Yanks on this list went on to win the World Series. Next stop, White Sox, Red Sox. Jamie Navarro against Scott Hatteberg with a man on. Hatteberg drives it deep to right center. There's a lot of drives deep to right center and all over the ballpark in this one. 2-run home run is 8th of the year. Red Sox up 7-2. Bottom four, it's 10-2. Darren Bragg up 2 on. Grounder up the middle. Ray Durham diving stop from his knees in time. Dave to the top of the 6th now.
Well, all of a sudden the White Sox are routing. It's 11-8. Derek Lowe facing Will Cordero. Tapper to the right side. Mike Benjamin filling in. Throws it to Lowe, but he drops a 2-run score. It's 11-10. Sox only down 1.
And the next man up is Mike Cameron. Wild pitch. Maglio Ordonez scores from third. We're all tied at 11. Ordonez was unhappy about being hit by a pitch earlier in the inning. Some words for everybody. Some pushing and shoving. Nothing major, though. Same at bat with Cordero on second and 2 outs. Cameron the flare to left. Troy O'Leary late jump. Comes in. Makes a catch. An 8-run 6 for the White Sox, though. Ties it up. Bottom 7 man on second for John Valentin. He had 4 hits to left. O'Leary scores from second. Boston would go up 12-11. They added 3 more to go up 15-11. Hold on. Top of the 8th, 2 on for Cordero, the former Red Sox, against Tom Gordon. 3-run home run, his 8th of the year. 15-14. Still with us, Dave? Chicago down by only 1. 2 outs, top of the 9th. Frank Thomas to short. Nomar Garciaparra makes a play over to first. Finally, it ends. Boston wins it 15-14. Red Sox blow an 8-run lead, but come back to win. Troy O'Leary, 4 hits. John Valentin, Mike Benjamin, and Darren Bragg each had 3 hits for Boston. The Sox with 15 runs in 3 of the last 4 games. The other game, they got blanked. And the 2 teams combined to use 13 pitchers, 1 short of the AL record. Greg Maddux has done it. Tom Glavine has done it. Kevin Millwood did it last night. And today, Denny Nagel could do it, and that's reached double figures in the win column. Maddux and Glavine have won 12 games, and Millwood won his 10th last night. The last team to have 4 20-game winners, the 71 Baltimore Orioles with Mike Cuellar, Dave McNally, Pat Dobson, and Jim Palmer. Mets and Braves from Atlanta. Mike Piazza in the lineup with a new catcher's mask after being hit in the back of the head by Gerald Williams last night. Tied at 2 in the top of the 11th, John Franco hits Michael Tucker. So the winning run's on first with no outs. Tucker's on first. Andrew Jones lays down the bunt. John Olerud, the diving attempt, can't get it. Jones running in the baseline, knocks over Olerud. Everybody's safe, Dave.
Well, it's okay for Andrew Jones to hit the baseman once he's made a play on the ball. Olerud made the play. Now he's impeding Andrew Jones. Jones can't do that if the defender's trying to make the play the first time. Good call by the umpires.
1 out, runners on first and second. Franco hits Eddie Perez in the left elbow. And what do you got here, Dave?
Well, the rule states that you must make an attempt to get out of the way. Eddie Perez drops his elbow right in front of the pitch. I haven't seen that play called since 1968 when Don Drysdale had a consecutive streak going.
Bases loaded, 1 out. Walt Weiss to Bernard Gilkey. Makes the catch. Here comes Michael Tucker. Developing situation at the plate. Out or safe. The call is safe. And the Mets didn't like it. That's a winning run. Mets thought he should have been called out. There was pushing and shoving and a lot more after the call was made. And this was incredibly close, Dave. It could have gone either way.
Well, yeah, you can make a case that maybe his foot got in, but 99% of the time the umpire is going to call him out. My only question was, did Piazza hold on to the ball? But Angel Hernandez called him safe immediately. Every replay we saw shows that Piazza did not bobble the ball, but Hernandez called it right away, and Bobby Valentine and everybody, obviously, is not happy about this deal.
Serious stuff here, but the ball game is over.
That's the worst he's ever seen. He said a lot worse than that. Watch it again. Tucker comes flying down third, nails Piazza, and as it is, the Braves get the call and the victory. They win 3-2-11. They've now won a season-high 8 games in a row. Braves now lead the Mets by 12.5. The Braves get their first extra inning win of the year. They had been the only team in the majors without an extra inning win. No decision for Nagel, who still has 9 wins. How about St. Louis and Cincinnati? Barry Larkin wearing the numbers of his teammates traded away this year. A couple in the last couple of days with Harris being dealt. Same with Shaw. Mark McGwire here against Brett Topko to right. And number 38 not there. Top of the second, 1-0 Cards. Bases loaded, 1 out. Placido Polanco's liner snared by Brett Boone. Flip to Larkin for the double play. Reds get out of the jam.
Bottom of the 6th, Reds with the bases loaded, one away. Sean Casey at the bat. One thing the Cardinals have not done is turn routine double plays the last 2 days. Joe West correctly rules that Polanco didn't have his foot on the base, but a run scores and Tony La Russa is going to get upset.
Top of the 8th, 6-1 Reds. John Hudick acquired in the Harris deal, the Lenny Harris deal from the Mets. John Mabry drives the ball deep to left. Chris Stein spilling in for the sick Reggie Sanders makes a great catch. The relay to Larkin over to first, doubles off McGuire, and that ends the inning. And the Reds win it by the final score of 6-1. So since he completes a 3-game sweep, they've won 9 of 10. McGuire goes 1 for 3, finishes tied with Reggie Jackson with most homers before the All-Star break with 37. McGuire is homerless in his last 5 games, going 1 for 11. The Cards have lost 10 of their last 12. And coming up on Baseball Tonight, he had a June to remember, but July may be a month to forget. Why Sammy Sosa won't suit up at Coors Field, and why Jim Thome may deserve consideration for most valuable player in the American League.
I talk to my mom every Sunday. Nothing big, just to stay close. Tell her what the kids are up to. And that's why I signed up for MCI 5-cent Sundays. It's just 5 cents a minute, so we can talk for half an hour for just $1.50. That same call is $4.50 with AT&T's One Rate. We save more with MCI. And best of all,
hi, Grandma.
we all get to talk more.
Call 1-800-Sundays to become an MCI customer.
How does it look? I'm not gonna lie to you. It doesn't look good. You got a broken crankshaft, a stuck valve, and a tremendous buildup of gunk.
I should have used a Fram oil filter. Nothing stops more dirt and engine-damaging particles better than America's #1 brand of filter. I guess I'm paying for it now.
Try and be strong. Fram oil filters. Pay a little more now or pay a lot later.
Nowhere but in the worlds of rock and golf are the crowd and the performer brought so close together. Where else can you reach out and touch a star? It reminds me of the crazed Bay City Roller fans, grabbing at the band's kilts, screaming their spleens out. Now let's juice this sucker up!
Baseball Tonight is being brought to you by Fram Filters. Pay a little more now or pay a lot later.
Our Sunday night baseball game of the week pits Seattle at Texas. The Rangers began the day 2.5 games behind the Angels in the American League West. Seattle a hugely disappointing 37-50. Indians and the Royals, top of the first. All-star reserve Manny Ramirez against Glendon Rush. Bring him up, sit him down. Ramirez is next at bat. Indians down 1-0. Same pitch. Ramirez drills the pitch to deep left. Jeff Conine back to the track and makes the catch. What about with Ramirez up later in the game?
Well, if something's been successful, I mean, Manny's been here hitting everything out of the plate, so they've been trying to come in on him pretty successfully. Came in the third time. Not a good idea. A grand slam for Manny Ramirez, the 8th of his career. 5-2 Indians on his 8th slam.
That's how I did it. That's how he did it. 12-3 is the final score in favor of Cleveland. Ramirez with 2 homers in the game for the second time in 3 days. Cleveland scored 6 in the 6th. They've won 5. I should say they scored 6 in the 6th and 5 in the 7th. Travis Fryman had 4 hits for the Indians. And Jim Thome goes 1 for 4. The one hit, his 23rd homer of the year. Has to be considered a candidate for the MVP in the American League.
Yeah, he really is. I mean, he's a guy that's probably gotten overlooked with all the stars that Cleveland has, but the numbers he's been putting up the last couple of years has been unbelievable. 78 homers the last 2 years coming into this year, but look where he ranks. He's in the top 6 in all of these major categories. He has just been on fire for the Indians in the last 2 to 3 weeks. He'll start the All-Star game. He is having an absolutely marvelous year. Jim Thome, 27 years old, really coming into his prime right now. I mean, the amazing thing about Thome, he has struck out 92 times, more than any other major leaguer. If he made contact every time, eliminate the 92 strikeouts, he'd be hitting 471.
Pretty good.
Yeah.
Thome will start for the American League in the All-Star game. Chicago's Sammy Sosa was selected as a reserve, but word today that Sosa will not be able to play. Sosa has a bad shoulder and says he may have hurt it by sleeping awkwardly on it overnight. Cincinnati second baseman Brett Boone was selected to replace Sosa on the All-Star roster. Sosa did not play today against Pittsburgh. It's the first game he's missed all season. He says he expects to be ready to go on Thursday when the second half of the season begins. So no Sosa. He'll go to the break with 33 home runs. Top of the seventh, Jason Kendall smokes at the second. Mickey Morandini snags it, tags out Manny Martinez, and gets Kendall at first. Beautiful double play. Watch this as Morandini makes the tag and then gets it to first in time. Mike Ditka late in arriving, but just in time.
Take me out to the ball game.
Just great, Mike.
Bobby's something like Blackbird Jackson. I don't care if I ever get back. I'll root for the whole team. They don't win it a shame. 1, 2, 3 strikes are out at the old ball game.
Just perfect, Mike.
Just a bit outside. Bases loaded for Chicago. Tied at 5, bottom of the 8th. Jose Hernandez, big game, went 3 for 5. Slams it past the drawn in infield. 2 runs come in to score, and Chicago goes on to beat Pittsburgh by the final score of 7-6. So the Cubs now have won 5 in a row. Rod Beck has a save in each. He now has 23 saves. They were down 5-zip in the 7th, the Cubs were, and they came back to win. Pittsburgh starter John Lieber, a no decision, struck out 9 in 6 2/3, one off his career high. How about Arizona and Houston? Bottom of the 3rd, Craig Biggio went 1 for 5 against Willie Blair. Gone. His 12th of the year. Ties the game at 1 run apiece. Bottom of the 7th, Astros up 3-2. Blair behind the back of Moises Alou. So Alou says, you know what I'm going to do on the next pitch? Especially focused here. Alou 1 for 5 on the next pitch after it went behind his back. He drilled it. 20th home run of the year. And Houston wins it by the final score of 5-2. Sean Bergman goes 5 innings for the win, his career-high 8th victory. Willie Blair, the loss. His 12 losses lead the majors. Houston finishes the first half of the season in first place, 5 games in front of the Cubs. Coming up on Baseball Tonight, we'll find out if Anaheim can win its first game in July. Oakland had something to say about that. And all of a sudden, we have another player in the majors with at least 30 home runs.
What's it like to step inside the mind of a killer and pull the trigger? What's it like to step over the edge of justice and into vengeance?
You gotta fight fire with fire.
I'm Bill Curtis. On Investigative Reports, we take you to where the facts may disturb you.
I live by my rules.
But the truth will always astound you. Investigative Reports with Bill Curtis, now on its new night. Mondays at 9 p.m. on A&E. A&E Documentaries, the closest you'll get to the truth.
Join the excitement and save during the big Firecracker 500 sale at Mullinax. Thursday through Tuesday with extra hours Sunday, it's the final 5 days of huge cash rebates like $2,500 on Windstar, $1,750 on Ranger, $1,500 on Escorts and Sporty ZX2s, $750 on 4-door Explorers, and $500 on all F-150s. Over 4,000 new Fords on sale, and our goal is to sell 500 during this 5-day event. Do the right thing. Celebrate America's birthday by buying American during the big Firecracker 500 at Mullinax Ford in Wickliffe, Amherst, and North Canton.
ESPN Classic Sports is going inside the film vault with Al Bernstein.
I'm here in the largest boxing library in the world for Big Fights Boxing Hour.
Every Tuesday night, you're ringside for a trip through boxing history as Classic Sports uncovers the greatest classic fights, many considered lost forever.
This is the one show no fight fan can afford to miss.
Go inside the vault with Al Bernstein on Big Fights Boxing Hour, Classic Sports' new boxing series. If you don't get ESPN Classic Sports, call 1-800-CLASSIC today.
Coming up at the top of the hour, our Sunday night baseball game of the week, Ken Griffey Jr. and the Mariners at Texas, the last game before the All-Star break. John Miller and Joe Morgan have more from the ballpark at Arlington.
Okay, Bill, we got a great matchup out here tonight at the ballpark in Arlington. Rick Helling going for his 12th win for Texas. And the big unit, Randy Johnson, going for Seattle. Now, Johnson has had a season of turmoil. And earlier on, although he was rumored to be traded every other day, it seemed, the Mariners finally said, no, he will stay with us the rest of the year. So we asked manager Lou Piniella if the right offer came along, would he trade Randy Johnson?
Well, from my perspective, you'd have to listen, but certainly I don't make those decisions, and ownership has their prerogative. I'm an employee here, but yeah, Randy's been a very integral part of our success here in the past, and this season's a long ways from being over. That's why you play 162 games. So we'll just have to wait and see.
All right. What do you think, Joe? I mean, there are 13 games under 500, 13 out of first. I mean, Randy Johnson going to be traded before the season's over?
Well, I'd have to think like Lou. If the right offer comes along, I think you have to make the deal. First and foremost, I think it should have been settled a long time ago. Either you give Randy Johnson a new contract or you trade him at that point. This has gone on too long during the season, and it hurts the players because they do not know what to say to Randy every day. And he's part of your team. You don't say to him, hi, Randy, every day. What do you do? And no one knows how to address that.
All right, so he's been great sometimes, he's been terrible others. Randy Johnson going tonight. Now let's go back to you, Bill.
All right, guys, we'll look for in about 20 minutes. Dave, Randy Johnson, 7-7 on the year, has lost 4 of his last 6 starts, but somewhat of an improvement in some recent outings.
Yeah, I mean, one of the interesting things about Randy right from the get-go this spring, he wasn't throwing as hard as he has in the past, 91 to 93 miles an hour instead of that 94 to 98 miles an hour. Well, finally, Stan Williams, the new pitching coach who came in a few months ago, had some side sessions with him, and Randy wanted to listen. And what he was basically saying, the big unit, 6'10", he was kind of slinging the ball. He wasn't getting any drive off the mound with his legs. I mean, he is so long-legged to begin with, but he was kind of pitching stiff-legged. And Stan Williams wanted him to get more of a push and a drive off that mound. Now, he's still fairly upright, but this is an improvement. And in Randy's last 3 games, he has struck out 12 in each of the games. He did get beat by Colorado on Tuesday, 6-1, but his last 3 starts, you see, he's 2-1, 1.80 the ERA, and look at the strikeouts to walk ratio. Prior to his last 3 starts, 2.8 strikeouts per walk. He has struck out 36 and walked 3 in his last 3 starts, and that really is a vast improvement for Randy Johnson. The Mariners are 13 games out, Bill. They've got to make a tremendous move right after the All-Star break. And if they do that, then perhaps they can get back in this race. This is the one team that's buried that I think has a chance of getting back, because I think Anaheim still has some injury issues to deal with. And I also think the Texas Rangers, that heat and lack of depth of pitching could hurt them. So if Seattle could get on a tremendous run right after the break, they might get back in this thing, and the big unit will be a part of it.
Seattle's been a big disappointment. So too has the Tigers. The 1997 Tigers were 26 games better than the 96 Tigers, the biggest single-season improvement in the majors this decade. But then came 1998, a loss today against Minnesota, and the Tigers would hit the All-Star break with 50 losses. Here we go. Brian Hunter on first in the top of the first, caught in the rundown, was tagged out. Bottom of the second, 2-1 Tigers, Todd Walker, who went 2 for 4. A shot to right, Bobby Higginson looking for it. Where is it? He can't find it. That's because it's over the wall. Walker's 7th home of the year, ties it at 2. Hunter again, the top of the 7th. Look at this. For the second time in the game, Hunter gets caught, nailed it in a rundown. Buddy Bell can't believe it, and Minnesota wins it by the final score of 5-4. So the Tigers lose for the 50th time this year. Minnesota's second in the AL Central, 10.5 games behind Cleveland. But Troy Hawkins went 5 innings for the win, his first victory in 3 weeks. Marlins Expos, top of the 4th. John Cangelosi at the plate.
2-2 pitch.
To left, F.P. Santangelo. Back to the track, makes a nifty catch. Top of the 8th. Expos down 2-1. Derek Lee, who went 2 for 3, singles to left. Cliff Floyd's going to try to score. Here comes the play. Santangelo gunning. And Floyd is out at the plate. Bottom of the 8th. Matt Manti hits Rondell White. Ball deflects off catcher Mike Redmond's ear. Redmond was okay. Next man up, Shane Andrews. And White, with his team down 1, tries to steal, thrown out. Florida holds on to win by the final score of 2-1. Brian Meadows goes 6 1/3 for his 3rd straight win. Meadows gave up 1 run on 9 hits. Florida's won 5 of its last 7, while the Expos hit the break with 5 losses in their last 6. Carlos Perez losing his 6th straight start. Brewers and the Phillies, bottom of the first, 1-0 Milwaukee. Scott Rowland went 1 for 4, and it was a big one. 2 men aboard for him. 3-run home run, his 17th of the year. And Philadelphia at this point is up by the score of 3-1. Top of the 7th, 4-2 Phils. John Jaha at the plate.
Well, Jaha gets all of this one. He's got great strength. Hits it off the facing of the second deck. The Brewers could use his bat to get going.
His 7th home run of the year, 4-3. Phils up 1. Mark Leiter has done quite a job out of the Phils bullpen this year. He comes on here to strike out Jeff Cirillo. Leiter's 17th save on the season, and the Phillies win at 4-3. So Phillies sweeps the Brewers as rookie Carlton Lower gets the win, giving up 3 runs in 7 innings. An RBI in the game for Rico Brogna. He now has 67 RBIs on the year, the most by a Philly at the break since Mike Schmidt's 68 in 1979. The Brewers hit the break 1 game over 500. First time they've been over 500 at the All-Star break since 1992. And Dave, the Phillies now just 1 game under 500. If you go back to last year, they're 87 and 75 since last year's All-Star break. And remember, last year they finished with only 68 wins.
Well, yeah, and they were just absolutely miserable in the first half of the year. They went 24 and 61, so that's a 19-game improvement in their first 85 games.